Hello and welcome along to the Where's My KitBag podcast, hosted to you by the three lovely media technicians of the Sixth Form College Farmer with myself, James.
Me, Will.
And I'm Steve.
Steve, apparently you have an amusing musing for us. Is that correct?
I just read this funny pun. I thought it was
Come on, give us a funny dad-based pun.
So it's a photo of this teacher pointing at a whiteboard,
Yeah.
and it says, "For today's science exam, you have to create a vacuum." No pressure. You definitely you're not on the cue there.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Not on cue. Rewind.
Oh yeah, because we can do that.
For today's science exam, you have to create a vacuum. No pressure.
There you go.
I guess I could have set myself up for
Yep.
disappointment.
Maybe
there.
one near the end of the pod. We'll redo a different one.
Yeah.
We'll
Well, the
just
one that
scream.
started all this was the first one that I saw. Is I hate when people ask me what I'll be doing in 1 year. Come on, guys, I don't have 20/20 vision. Hey.
That's correct. How are we all, apart from these god-awful puns?
Doing very well.
Yeah, pretty good.
Looking
Nice.
forward to the pod.
Nice. Right. Steve, do you want to start us off with some department news?
I guess so.
Over to Steve in the newsroom, Steve.
You know, I'm not that news report is it's a myth now. It
I
doesn't exist
can
anymore.
still dream.
He's on a break.
Yeah, he's on a
Okay.
break.
He's on a break.
Vacay.
Well, this interesting thing happened. So when you walk into the media and film department, if you go up the stairs, for some reason, 6 editions of the newsletter are now just on the window of the edit suite. Why, I don't know, but they're there. Who put them there? It's a mystery. But last time I checked, I think it's just good to have a bit of a backlog. So if there's any dated things, older competitions, anything like that, people wanted to be reminded of, and just to see how diverse the newsletter is, they're just sitting there filling that lovely little space, and it looks nice and arty down there in the department. So there you go, that's there.
May I say, it looks awesome.
Oh, thanks.
It is.
May I
It is
also
very
say,
cool.
you can see Steve's improving designing ability
Yeah, I
throughout
guess
the
so.
years.
What I'm probably going to do is probably for the last one of the year, I'm probably going to post the first newsletter's format that ever was a newsletter in February of 2018, and then, you know, knock it out of the park with a new one. It's been good. I've kind of
It's been going for nearly 2 years.
Yeah, February.
Oh my days.
No, it's been a year.
I was going
a
to
year
say
this
February
next
18. I was
month.
like, really?
February 19. My
February
apologies.
19.
My
A
apologies.
year's worth of newsletter.
Yeah, I'm still
Look at
not
that.
used to it being 2020. Perhaps my vision isn't all that good.
Hmm.
But we'll see. Anyway, moving on. What else? What's in the newsletter? Well, I don't know if it's too late notice, but for anybody listening to this, I hope you bought your newspapers, because Nick was pretty much getting those emails out to ensure you media guys had got your newspapers. So I hope you guys haven't let yourselves down and not got said newspapers.
Yeah,
not
apparently it's
newsletters.
going to be Brexit. Well, they're
Yeah.
expecting it to be a big Brexit issue.
So it could be a shortage of newspapers down at the local BP, because Rob's been saying that's a good place to go and get them. So they might have an influx of newspaper enthusiasts come, I think, Friday or Monday, one of the two.
Friday.
So today,
Friday at 11 p.m.
wow,
is apparently when we
11
leave.
p.m.
Yes, very odd.
But why would the newspaper be out that early?
Well, no, the newspaper, as in Brexit happens at 11 p.m.
right.
So they'll obviously have a newspaper going, oh, it's the last day we're in the EU, properly
no.
or whatever.
Oh, well, fair enough. So, yeah, there's that. Film Club has all been confirmed. It's Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver from 1976 featuring Robert De Niro. That'll be screening on February 10th, 4:25 at the Simon Jarvis Electric Theatre, which is great. Really looking forward to that. The Imposter actually did really well on the voting. I don't know the specific numbers, but I am going to post the results so nobody can criticise. But that, I think, will slip in for another Film Club vote, the March vote, and we'll see if we get a little theme going of everything coming second gets screened. But we'll see. At the moment, it's 1-0 because it's only happened once. But yeah, that'll be good. There was at least 17 people who voted for Taxi Driver, and I was not one of them. I voted for Le Hen. I was one of 2 people, that much I do know. So I am hoping that some, at least 17, turn up for Film Club
yeah, you'd hope so.
on the
Yeah.
10th of February, after college on that Monday, 4:25. It's a great film. I actually studied it when I was a student here many a year ago.
Be there or be square.
Yeah, and you can even get a taxi home afterwards. It's completely up to you, depending on how you feel about old Travis.
Yeah,
You'll
maybe not.
But we'll see. Anyway, what else is going on? I think that's pretty much it, to be fair. Most of the stuff on the newsletter is pretty self-explanatory. The C-Tech guys are getting underway with their production now. That's good to see. Some very as close to the industry work in regards to a crew setup I think you get at this level, which is, in my opinion, quite ahead of the game for people of the students' ages, which is it's really, really, really cool to see, giving them that experience and that pressure nice and early. So shout out to you, C-Tech guys. Looking forward to seeing what you come up with. And crazy to think that there's only a couple weeks left and there's another half term. How mad is that?
Oh boy.
Can't wait.
But yeah, that's pretty much it from me. It's a pretty quick segment. So if you gentlemen are happy, I'm more than happy to move on. And hopefully there'll be some more interesting news next week.
Glorious. Well,
Thanks,
shall we move straight into from one news to another? Well, Devro. Tech news.
Alrighty, welcome back to another week of Tech News. So on Tech News this week, we've got a few bits of information for you. Nothing mad going on at the moment, but we are expecting some big tech sort of conventions up and coming in the next few months, and a lot of announcement. The first one's actually out. So this is a piece of software that you can get on iPhones, which allows you to record. Oh yes, thank you for the Apple sound. Nice, well played. Which allows you to record 2 cameras at once. I believe it works on just the latest model, the iPhone 11. So if you've got the triple camera on the back and you've got the front-facing camera, you can either have a combination of 2 of the, like maybe a wide and a telephoto on the back, or you can have the front and the back. And you can choose all sorts of different ways of recording yourself. So if you're looking to get into sort of vlogging or live streaming, stuff like that, you can do a lot with this app. So I can't remember the name of it top of my head, but it's in a lot of news articles at the moment. So just give a search like iPhone dual camera app, and it'll pop up pretty quickly.
Nice.
On that.
But sadly, only on iPhone.
Only on iPhone at the moment. The next one is a rumor. So there's been the rumor mill has been absolutely heating up with this new Canon EOS R5, which is a meant to be sort of the 5D version of the Canon mirrorless lineup. That's how they're kind of pitching it in these sort of rumors. It's going to have a whopping like 42 megapixel sensor.
Woof.
But not only that, it's boasting that it can take 20 pictures a second at that high resolution, which would be unheard of in that sort of category. You're also dealing with 4K at 120p, or 120 frames per second, and potentially 8K at 30 frames per second.
In a small factor body.
Yeah, in the same size
Damn.
as sort of the EOS R at the moment, apparently. But we'll see. I think there was that other Panasonic camera that was huge. It needed like the battery and fans to kind of like power it to film 8K. So if this thing can output that, that'd be quite impressive. It'd be cool if it could shoot log. If it could shoot C-log, that'd be quite nice. But Steve made a really good point earlier. Steve, do you want to, as a Canon user, what do you?
I guess a bit of context is I've spent pretty much my whole career, even in my quote professional career, using the cine grade cameras. I've mostly stuck with Canon, only dabbling in one Sony and one Arri, and I've always loved Canon. But over the last actually since the podcast has been running is actually a good time to correlate the last 2 years. Canon have always released an amazing piece of kit, but they'll always leave out one feature that is almost kind of compulsory, i.e. when the EOS RP came out, just didn't have 24 or 25p, which is the standard frame rate in which you just record stuff at normal speed, just in general, and they just seem to keep doing that, and I find that really frustrating. So I'm not really excited about this one, primarily because I actually had a go with, I did a full, proper shoot, professional shoot, with a Sony a7 III, and the accessibility and the ease for me as a Canon user, once I understood where all the buttons were in it or how it all worked, I was like, this is so much better. In regards to a user-friendly experience, and I enjoyed it so much more. Yes, obviously you could argue there's factors of 120p and a few other things, but if Canon just gave the same, customer experience to Sony, I'd be all over it. But I'm just like, yep, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be jaw-dropping, but there's going to be something missing. What that is, I don't know, but something will be missing.
And Sony's been really quiet on the video front in terms of their mirrorless cameras. They haven't done an S model or another Mark IV version, and a lot of people think that could be coming this year. So who knows what that could contain as well. Quite interesting to hear your side of as a quite a heavy Canon user.
Realistically, I think I'll be making the transition as and when I feel I don't have a choice. Unless something crazy, unless this R5 has everything I want it to do. But at the moment, I only have EF lenses, and I believe the Rs use RF mounts.
Yeah, RF mounts.
So it would be a whole new plethora of lenses anyway. So if I
are expensive.
Yeah. So if I was going to make the jump, I'd probably just go over to Sony because I feel like I'll be more valued as a customer. That's just my own experience.
The advantage Sony has now is that because they started the mirrorless thing so early, their lens array, they already have third-party companies making good, affordable, cheap lenses for Sony now, and they've struggled a lot at the start, but now are kind of settling into their grooves.
I mean, I had a little 5-10 minutes on Bale's Nikon, and to be honest, with the way things are going, Sony and Nikon, if one of them came out with this amazing camera, those two would kind of be a good couple strides ahead of Canon in the race to kind of bag me as a customer. Unfortunately, for those listening who are Fuji fans, the reason I don't like Fuji fans, the reason I don't like Fuji's is because I don't like how there are so many physical dials. For those who use them, you'll know what I mean. I like to have less buttons and more kind of on-screen interactivity. So yeah, those are the kind of three that I'd go with.
See, I'm the opposite. I love a button. You
just
can't go wrong with a button.
I just don't like that there's a wheel just for ISO on the top. I find that really odd.
Love it.
I'm so used to that being a digital thing on cameras. But yeah, it's just down to preference.
Yeah, it generally is. I mean, obviously Nikon is basically the exact same thing as Canon, but the buttons are in a different place.
But Nikon aren't withholding stuff.
True, very true.
That's another factor.
That's also
at a reasonable price point as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, realistically, the mirrorless game is Sony and Nikon, really.
Yeah.
With obviously Sony being in it longer, being ahead, because they've already obviously got now third parties building lenses for them. Whereas Nikon doesn't have that yet. That they don't have the.
It will get there.
Of course, it will. Absolutely.
It's always, forever. It will be years behind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They started that much earlier.
Exactly. Because Sony did, like you say, earlier.
The Panasonic range is not too far behind. The GH5s
you know what? To be honest, you're right.
So.
That like SH1 and all that. That's sort of stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, that they are very impressive pieces of kit. But you need to reach that price point where, where we can be comfortable owning it, but it has the capability of doing all sorts. So yeah, that's quite interesting to talk about.
Do we want to guess how much this body is going to cost?
I'm going to go £6,000.
£6,000.
I'd have gone. I was going to say 4,500, but I wouldn't really say that'd be an area they'd go to. So as weird as it sounds, 4,799.
Oh. I'm going to go for 5,499.
I believe. Interestingly, I believe that would be with a lens. I believe it'll be body only 4,799 and 5,500 with a kit lens.
Oh, nice.
Well, the 1DX Mark III, how much is that going for? Isn't that £6,000?
That is a pricey boy.
Yeah, so I reckon they're going to price it accordingly.
Interesting. It is very much more a photography camera, though, isn't it? The
1DX.
Oh yeah,
the 5D was anyway. So, not that you can't for those out there, but some kind of swing towards.
Apparently, they might announce something on the 13th of February, so keep your eyes peeled for them.
I mean, I'd love to stay with Canon. They've always been really good, and I do have a loyalty to them. I just want to feel like I'm getting the full package.
Yeah,
especially when you're spending that much money.
Yeah,
God,
exactly.
Right,
right.
So
cool. Yeah, that's
nice.
That's just a little bit of tech news for you.
Is that it?
Yeah,
there's nothing else.
No, not that I can find.
My days. There's wow. That's the
no new laptops, no new phones, no new games. It's a bit of a quiet one at the moment.
In regards to news, I wouldn't really call it tech news.
Oh.
Actually, let's go on to the next segment because my question is about music.
Oh, what a segue, Steve. Are you turning into Segway Steve?
Well, you could be.
I mean, you just called him.
You're Segway Steve. Nice. Right, start with your music question. Go on.
How do you feel about the Grammys?
How do I feel about the Grammys?
Yes. How did you see it went? It looked like it went pretty well. I saw. Is it Billie Eilish?
But Billie Eilish won 5.
The main ones as well, which is quite impressive.
Do you feel for someone who's 17 going on 18?
She's 18.
18 soon, very soon. No, she's 100% 17. She might be 18
a young
now.
lady.
Yes, she's college age. There you go.
Yeah. Do you feel as if they should kind of, share the reward, or do you feel like it is, if you're that good,
I think
It's
in that
an
industry,
interesting
if
one.
it's deserved, I think fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's same with like the Oscars. If you've got a film that absolutely whitewashes everything, then it deserves to win. Like obviously Lord of the Rings did, and Titanic or whatever. Obviously in that particular year they were the best film. Therefore, they won all the awards because they did everything the best. So if you've got an artist that does, the vast majority of the things the best, then why not award that?
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's the only standpoint. I mean,
it's quite cool. Her brother writes all her music.
Wow.
Well, the majority of it. Yeah. So
Nice.
there's no like big producer or anything behind it.
See, grassroots is what you like. Although probably not now. She's probably like swathing in millions.
Who knows? Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the other question I have about music is, how do you feel about the Super Bowl halftime show at the NFL? What are your thoughts on that from a person who's very much more into music than myself?
I can see why they picked the people they picked. Obviously, they've got Shakira and J-Lo as the kind of main.
Do you think it's dying down these days in regards to its hype? Like people, I know a lot of people stay up for the halftime show, even in the UK.
What I think is a bit strange is wherever J-Lo goes, who always follows J-Lo?
Mr. Worldwide?
Mr. Worldwide Pitbull. Now,
really? Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. No, wherever J-Lo is, Pitbull is not far behind.
Wow. Is he going?
No, Pitbull is doing the pre-show show
of course.
with the man who screams his own name and says nothing else in his songs.
Mr. DJ Khaled.
Indeed. Which obviously... I think only Pitbull is the only decent one there, but only for meme quality purposes only, not for quality of music.
Yeah.
And then, I mean...
so I would have thought somebody like Billie Eilish would be spot on, because as awful as it sounds, correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know how big her American market is,
well,
personally.
I just thought surely somebody who's in the limelight, as awful as that sounds. That's what I mean. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what have kind of Shakira and J-Lo done recently that would warrant them to get arguably one of the biggest shows in US television?
I mean, if you're thinking about it, I mean, Shakira's done the big venue before, because she obviously did the Africa World Cup.
Yeah, true.
So she's done a big stage performance with, millions upon millions watching worldwide. Not Mr. Worldwide, TP. But I mean, Shakira's got the back catalogue of bangers. I mean, she could just play Hips Don't Lie for like 5 minutes and be absolutely fine. J-Lo, obviously, I don't know what she's released a couple of things recent-ish, but I wouldn't say they were kind of like groundbreaking, as it were. But I mean, it's not the worst they could have picked. They could have put Pitbull and DJ Khaled there, which would have been utterly horrific.
Did they have last time? Maroon 5, was it?
I think it was.
Really
I think it was.
And then before that, I remember Timberlake was a few years ago.
As much as people criticise it, one of my favourite ones was when Coldplay, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars all collaborated.
What a bizarre
combo. And I was
combo.
I actually really enjoyed that. That was quite good. Didn't really enjoy Katy Perry and the Dolphins or the
that
Sharks.
was funny. That became a meme.
That did become a meme.
Wasn't Lady Gaga
shark
one
guy.
of them? One of the ones she jumped into the stadium, didn't she, or something mental?
Yeah, it sounds like something she would do.
Been early as last year. I don't know who did last year. I don't really remember.
I think you're right. I think it is Maroon 5.
Have a little look up, and we'll let Bale go on to Tune of the Week.
So, Tune of the Week. An artist that I think probably could do a big halftime show, The Weeknd. Obviously popular in America. Quite a large artist, obviously with a fairly half-decent back catalogue. But I've picked their new song this week because it's flipping great. That's what it is. It's glorious. It's a kind of 80s synth pop revival movement. It's come a bit late, but I don't care because it sounds better than all the rest. It's a song called Blinding Lights. It's currently, I think, the best song in the top 40 by a good long way.
Nice. Cool. I like a bit of The Weeknd.
So, yeah, very kind of 80s synth vibes going on. I honestly think this is The Weeknd's best song ever.
Wow.
They've done.
Cool.
By a mile. And like I said, it is by far the best song in the current chart because most of it is just rubbish. Or Justin Bieber.
Cool, thank you.
If that's in your wheelhouse, that's in your wheelhouse. But yeah, look up The Weeknd. Obviously, spell it with 2 E's, not 3, because for some reason they dropped an E. It's called Blinding Lights. I'll put the obviously link in the video description and the description on obviously the old SoundCloud and iTunes. If you're listening on there, hello, or Spotify, hello. And I'll also check it on the Where's My KitBag playlist, so you can listen to all our previous tracks of the week and this one all in one. Nice, easy place.
Lovely.
Steve, have you found out who did the Super Bowl last year?
Yes. Do you want to guess?
I'm sticking with Will. It is Maroon 5.
Yes.
Nice.
There are 2 other people
Oh.
that also were with.
All right, can we ask one question? Are they bands or solos?
Both of which are solos of the same genre.
Oh, both the solos of the same genre. Is it Mr. Worldwide Pitbull?
No.
Damn. Who else? Who else would be big enough? Would you say they're big artists?
Potentially. They're quite sicko mode.
Oh, Travis Scott?
Yeah, hey, well played. And the other one I've never
Drake?
heard of. No,
Oh,
the other
it
one
can't
is
be Drake.
called Big Boy.
Big Boy.
Yes.
Literally Big Boy.
Big Boy. B-O-I for
Wow.
boy.
Boy.
Oh, Big
So
Boy.
there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
The year before that, congratulations, you were correct. It was Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
The year before that was the one where Lady Gaga jumped into the stadium.
Classic
And then you
Gaga.
had Super Bowl 50, which was the Coldplay, Beyonce, Bruno Mars. The year before that was
The
the
Sharks.
Shark, Casey Perry.
Yes.
And then
We
it
did
goes,
all right.
goes back.
Sharks
Yeah,
are
that's
pretty
pretty
good.
good.
That's not
We did
bad.
okay there.
Considering I've only been really an NFL fan this last season.
See, that's the thing. I
Weirdly
know a
enough,
lot of,
remembering the Super Bowl halftime shows.
it's not typically NFL fans that
True.
really enjoy the halftime show. I know a lot
Indeed.
of people who just tune in. They'll wait up, watch the halftime show, then go to bed.
Fair enough.
Why I don't know, because you can just catch it on YouTube the next day now.
That's
but there
what I
you
used
go.
to do, yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
Let's do it. Let's
Shall we move on to what have we been watching, boys? So, on the list, Will Devereaux, you
Hello.
are first this week.
Nice.
What have you been watching?
Cool. Not too much because I've been doing a lot of editing in my free time at home. However, on the weekend, we did get through the whole of Sex Education Season 2.
What did you think?
Really, really liked it. To be honest, there isn't much I can really fault with it.
Nice.
But it's in terms of like the content, really good. And the episodes were all really quite gripping, and the ending was I quite liked it. I think me and Olive both quite liked it. So
did you prefer season 1 or season 2?
I preferred season 2
Oh,
personally. Yeah, I think it had a lot more
Right.
depth to it,
nice.
and I think I enjoyed season 1, but I think having the background knowledge of it just enhanced season 2 even more for me. So yeah, I'd say prefer season 2.
I'm looking forward to season 3. Obviously, hopefully they sign up for another season. Is my pray and hope.
Oh, they have.
Have they?
Haven't they? I'm pretty
I'm
sure they've
sure,
already
I'm
confirmed.
absolutely sure. Yeah.
It's been confirmed. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Pick
I have no
confirm.
doubt.
Box this lap.
And also watched the entire season of Cheer, which is a documentary series. I'll let Steve talk a bit more about it on his turn, but
Oh,
I really, really enjoyed that. It is brutal. It is about like a cheerleading college, junior college, in America, who's pretty much known as like the best, and their journey to essentially like the Super Bowl of cheering. And I'll let Steve
the
go on
cheer
from that.
bowl.
Yeah. And the other one's Derry Girls, which is it's based in Northern Ireland.
Derry or
Derry
girls?
Derry.
Derry.
Yeah,
Not dairy.
not Derry. I thought
Okay.
it was Derry, but it's Derry.
All right. So
Um,
I'm not lactose intolerant. We're good. Right, carry on.
And there's a bunch of girls who like are based in a school in Northern Ireland, and it's just hilarious. I've only seen the first episode. First 2 episodes, but we're going to be watching some more tonight, and it's just comedy gold. It is absolutely. The actors are fantastic.
What's the premise? Are we just literally just following these girls?
Yeah,
around
at the
Derry?
moment, we're still like, but we kind of understanding their lives, their family, what they're living through at the moment. All the characters, it's got a bit of an in-betweeners vibe to it. I'm
Okay.
getting from it, but with strong Northern Irish accents, which just makes
Fantastic.
me smile all the time. So I'm really enjoying it.
Where can we find said program?
That's on Netflix.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, enjoy that. You watch episode 1, you'll be wetting yourself. It's absolutely hilarious.
Cool.
Hopefully
Yeah,
not
that's me.
Hopefully not with dairy.
Well, I'm next on the list. So yeah, Cheer's an interesting one. I think the reason Will has probably asked me to talk about it a bit more because the reason I'm only halfway through the season, only because they're an hour long. I'm about 4 episodes into it, and the reason I like it is because it follows that same observational documentary mode. So for those who don't know, in documentary there's 7 modes of documentary. I couldn't name all of them off the top of my head, but you get things like poetic modes, which is like kind of like love letters. So Asif Kapadia's Senna is a poetic documentary about Senna's life, and then you get people like Louis Theroux who have performative documentaries, which is quite self-explanatory. This is an observational one where we literally just view and we watch what unfolds. Yeah, there are a few interviews in there, but they're not supposed to be specific to the mode. Anyway, the reason I love it is because I personally believed that my favourite documentary series of all time, Last Chance U, I loved because of the sport. contrary to that, it's actually due to the conventions of which the documentary is constructed. It's beautifully shot. I think the grade is incredible, and it's very much about more of a character development and character kind of study in this kind of observational way. You kind of sit back and you watch, but at the same time, the way it's constructed, you feel like part of the team and you start rooting for them. And the reason I say all this is because cheer almost follows it to a T. And the thing I enjoyed about it is, like, I know nothing about cheerleading. It's such a niche thing, but I felt the exact same way within the first 15 minutes. So it kind of makes me go, if you like cheer, if it's something you find interesting, go and check out Last Chance U. It's a bit more, aggressive, you could argue, but at the same time, it isn't. I personally believe there's worse moments in cheer than there are in Last Chance U.
All I'm going to say is you wait. Like that's,
okay,
that's all
interesting.
I'll say. Yeah.
But no, it's really well.
Worse. Oh,
yeah,
no.
It's really well put together. It's really good. They focus on a few people, which is good to do in documentaries, so you don't get lost. And then they are essentially one of many. As Will said, it's about a small college in I believe it's in Texas. It's Navarro, Texas.
That's it.
Bad.
And yeah, they are one of the best, junior colleges in the country who basically compete in this place called Daytona. You might know that from the Daytona 500 from NASCAR.
That I do.
So yeah, and basically the interesting premise of this one is in any sport, you could watch a documentary about football, American football, hockey, basketball. There's a professional level. With this one, it's really interesting because there is no professional step afterwards. After it's done, that's it, curtains, finished, which is interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, check that out. I'm really looking forward to watching the rest of it, and I've really enjoyed that it's kind of opened my eyes to kind of show it's the content creators, not exactly the premise, which has kind of got me hooked, which is cool. The other thing, actually, you'll go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I've watched 2 more documentaries, one, but I've only watched the first episode of both. Okay. The first one, the reason I'm looking at Will, is Pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Very, very hard-hitting documentary. I'm actually going to pass this over to you because the way you sold it to me, Will, actually made me want to watch it. But obviously, I've got a few more comments. So, what's Pandemic?
Sure. Yeah. So, Pandemic was a series film by Netflix over the past couple of years, where they look into how different areas of life would tackle a pandemic in terms of a virus.
Oh.
And a deadly virus, and it goes to New York, Africa. Little hospitals with one doctor in the middle of Texas.
Wow.
All these different areas and how they would what are their plans? Have they got any plans? Who is looking after us if something was to happen?
Yeah.
And within the first episode, they start talking about things about it's not a question of if, it's when. It's like how much. And then you look at this coronavirus and you're like, it's ticking a lot of the same boxes that they're talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say that the release of this sounds very well timed.
So this was due to be released on this date for a long time, and they were debating about postponing it, but they thought no, it's actually probably useful to some people. It might, of course, it's going to pick up a bit more traction. It is very interesting, but like Steve was saying, it hits you pretty hard, and you start worrying a little bit, like,
Is it episodic or is it just
episodic.
one big?
I think it's 10 episodes.
10 episodes, cool.
I think my thing that I found, I've only seen the first episode, but after that, bear in mind this is in no comparison to some of the things that the people in it are suffering with, but because it's a lot of suffering, after a long day and you kind of want to just unwind, I actually felt quite ill afterwards.
Because you hopefully not with the coronavirus.
No, of course not. But it's only one of those things you'll understand when you watch it, but you just don't feel, it's a weird feeling. I just felt really run down after watching it. Maybe as Will said, with the kind of stress and the realism of what it's kind of talking about. But when you talk about illness and stuff, it kind of does rub off on you a bit, and you're like, oh, do I have a bit of headache? Maybe, I don't know. I was just tired that night, but I was just a bit like, this is tough, I don't know. I want to watch something a bit more light-hearted.
Upbeat.
But on the opposite of that, as Will said, it is so gripping in regards to how, arguably alarming it could be in some respects. And these kind of unsung heroes of these specialists who dedicate their time and in some aspects go undercover. This one lady was like, I don't tell friends in the neighborhood what I do because they'd think, I'm going to be in contact with a deadly virus.
Yeah.
I'm not letting my kids see her daughter or whatever, which is an interesting kind of way, and it's an interesting psychological study, which is cool. So yeah, there's Pandemic, and the last one I've watched, which actually kind of does segue back to American football, is Inside the Mind of Aaron Hernandez, which is an interesting one.
Who is Aaron Hernandez?
Aaron Hernandez was an American football player who got drafted by the New England Patriots in 2010.
Cool.
And I've only seen the first episode, and I don't actually know this story all that well. Like, at that time, I would have been quite in my early teens, so I wouldn't have really daffled in that, and we didn't really have the technology to kind of have that much engagement with American news. It was very much an American story. And either way, it's basically accusing this American football player of being involved in a murder along the same times of when he was playing on a Super Bowl run, and the Super Bowl is essentially like the big trophy in American football, for the New England Patriots, which is an American football team. And did this man commit these crimes whilst being a professional, sportsman?
Yeah.
And it's an interesting study. It's done very differently to the typical crime things you'd see on Netflix, because you learn about the person before you actually learn about the crime that's been committed, which is weird. And unfortunately, in my perspective, I found it really slow. Even as a American football fan for my entire life, I was like, yeah, get on with it. I want to know what he's done.
Yeah.
And it takes until the end of the first episode for you to actually find out the crime and how this guy's linked with it. And I guess that's interesting. It's a different way to do it. You got to try these things, or no one will ever evolve in regards to content creation.
Yeah.
But it is quite slow. So maybe because I've been watching a lot of other stuff on Netflix and other documentaries that have been jaw dropping. None even come to mind. But none of this one doesn't just. It doesn't hit the mark and make me go, oh, I need to see what happens, because that's why we watched them, all the Ted Bundy stuff and all that stuff. But this just, I don't know. I'm going to finish watching it because it's only 3 episodes. But at the moment, it's like a 3. It really is it's just not
slow,
that
a very slow start.
Yeah, like I'm not emotionally engaged with anybody, and some of the stories are really intense. Like there's some sort of, the wife of Aaron Hernandez, his sister's dating somebody else who might be involved as well. It's bonkers. It's absolutely crazy.
Oh, bit of a false
but I'm just
start.
I'm not engaged. It's weird.
Ooh.
I don't know why. But yeah, that's all I've been watching really. I'm going to keep watching both of them, all 3 of them actually, because I haven't finished Cheer.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you can clearly see, I have a kind of style I enjoy watching.
Cool.
It's
So you
documentary.
both would recommend Cheer?
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
It's awesome.
I'll give that a
It's
go.
very, very good.
Give that a go. Otherwise, from me, I finally finished Designated Survivor Season 2.
Nice.
Season 1 I still think was better.
How many seasons are there?
3 on
Okay.
Netflix. I'm just moving into Season 3. Although I still much prefer Season 1 over 2. Because I feel like in Season 2 they're kind of forcing, oh no, another crisis. Mr. President, what will you do? It seems a little bit formulaic in some episodes.
Well, it's tricky. They keep pushing it because the premise of it was so hard hitting, and that's what they played on in Season 1. And then in Season 2, they have to kind of think, it's not really about a designated survivor anymore,
It's
is
just
it?
a president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I do love it when they don't use real country names and they call like North and South Korea North and South Kaznia, which I always find quite funny. But that just amused me.
It feels a bit more like
than
a House
anything.
of Cards as you go on, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. But absolutely better.
Yeah.
I think better than House of Cards. Now, the second thing I've watched, which I've in fact got it up on my phone so I can show you how bad this is. So this is a film called Hunter Killer. It's on Netflix, featuring everyone's favourite Scotsman, Gerard Butler. It's all right.
Oh, is this with Morgan Freeman?
No, not Morgan Freeman in it. So this one called Hunter Killer. Basically, the premise is there's like a US submarine that's been shot by a Russian submarine.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah. So the Russians are trying to like do a coup or something, and then in comes Jolly America to try and save the day. But the main thing I want to note about this is the absolute god awful visual effects at the beginning. Now I'm gonna swing over to where the guys are on the other side of the desk. And I've got it up on my phone, so hopefully you'll be able to see it.
We'll see what we're seeing. How about that?
But there's a scene at the beginning where Gerard Butler has a crossbow, and you can see this very badly graphic effects deer.
Right.
And I just started laughing at it, how bad this deer looked.
Oh no.
It was just, so it's like this kind of like really kind of this scene.
So why doesn't it look good?
It just looks so badly After Effects in
So
my opinion.
Personally, just from looking at it, I don't think the lighting kind of matches.
No, not at all.
The whatever creature that is. So
Yeah.
it looked kind of planted on there.
Yes, it very much looked like I photoshopped this deer onto this scene, and as soon this is literally within the first what is it, like 5 minutes of the film?
Oh,
7.
wow.
I thought the
Within the
torpedoes.
first 7.
I thought the torpedoes were cool, but the actual submarines do look a bit funny when you see them.
I mean, for me, as soon as I saw that CGI within the first 7 minutes, I just burst out laughing.
Do you think that's why that's because they spent all that money on Gerard Butler and didn't have enough left to pay the visual effects house?
Possibly. I mean, yeah. If you watch it, if you want a good laugh of how not to do visual effects. Especially for the level 3 students who are doing their visual effects and cinematography unit, go and watch that and laugh at it, and then go, I shouldn't do this.
What
I
would
can
you give
do
it,
better.
Bale? What number?
Well, the whole film?
Yeah, whole film. Slap a number on
5.
it. 5.
I mean, a very kind of average action film. Yeah, it was all right. There were some good action scenes, but it's very. I came out. I finished it and went, eh.
I always feel claustrophobic watching those submarine bit films.
See that the submarine films don't really affect me like that, because it was like there was another scene where some guy gets like hit on the head by a torpedo, and I'm like, you're pinned underwater, you would be unconscious right now, you're not be like squirming for air because a torpedo hit you on the head and is now pinning you down.
Oh dear.
Like, ugh. So yeah, there was a couple of bits that I thought were a bit weird. There was one guy that magically teleported from like the top of a crane into a forest.
Nice.
And I don't quite know how he did that with a slightly like a shot leg.
Oh God.
Yeah, so he had a shot leg like in like the night scene. He was at this crane, got shot. The team left him. We're just like, yeah, we'll get you later.
Oh, it's with the Russian president and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
And then like the next morning, or like sort of kind of midday-ish, he's in this forest being a sniper. And I'm like, how did you get from there to clearly like the other side of a lake and then in a forest?
Oh, nice.
So yeah, a little bit dodge from me. But I mean, if you just want some kind of like average action film in the background while you do something else, it's worth a punt.
I have one more thing.
Yes, Steve.
Just a quick one. If you like a bit of comedy and you like a bit of British humour,
Yes.
All 4 has a program called Joe Lycett's Got Your Back.
Yes, you pinged me this.
This is great.
This was great.
So I wouldn't really say this is trash TV, but it's absolute peak. Okay, so what this basically is it's this comedian called Joe Lycett, and what he does is he finds arguable companies who aren't exactly offering true to services.
Think Watchdog, but funny.
Yes, perfect. Watchdog, but funny. Yes. And he kind of, throughout the series, he challenges policies from big giants like Uber, or Uber Eats, hypothetically, spareroom.com, a car rental service, a car parking, service who find people for the most, dodgy wheeling dealers, basically, who need to be brought to justice. Joe Lycett comes in and he basically humiliates them in the most comedic way, but also brings to light that there is an issue. There's a few actually really nice ones. He also really loves to toy with email scammers, and the reason he says he does it is because he does it so we don't have to, really, and he just has a bit of fun with the stuff that we can relate to in an everyday life. And when you feel like you've just been ripped off by a company and you're not really sure how, Joe Lycett looks into why, and then kind of goes undercover and tries to kind of exploit them for the for the rats that they are. But no, it's really funny. It's really really funny. I'm not going to say anything that happens in it, but if you like, your 8 out of 10 cats kind of humour, Joe Lycett's Got Your Back is good.
It's almost like 8 out of 10 cats meets Watchdog.
Yeah, it's witty.
Have you ever seen Rogue Traders?
Yes.
Similar like that,
yeah.
Very
got that
similar,
sort of
but with
a live studio audience.
Yeah.
And a light-hearted comedy. There's another guy in it. He's like, there's something about something being illegal, and then this fire and brimstone just appears behind Joe Lycett, and he cuts to his friend and goes, "How is that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I loved it. That's good." Yeah, just
nice.
Random. It's so over the top, but in like quite a funny way. Like they know they're being over the top just because they can, and it's
cool.
It's so stupid but so entertaining. I stumbled across a YouTube video and watched pretty much the whole season.
Nice.
But there's not enough on all 4.
There's not enough on all 4.
Yeah, so it's all on all 4. I think there's 5 episodes. It's just not enough.
What?
I want to see so much more of this.
It's needs
so
more
good.
content.
But yeah, Joe Lycett's Got Your Back. To be honest, for the type of TV it is, 10 out of 10. No problem.
Nice.
Loved it.
Nice.
My type of comedy is great. But yeah, there you go.
Brill. Well, there's some recommendations for you to go and watch. If you want to see some bad VFX, go watch Hunter Killer. If you want to laugh afterwards, Joe Lycett.
Yeah.
Good choice. And if you want to be, I don't know, cheered, go and watch
If
Cheered.
you want motivation, maybe.
Yeah, motivation.
From the first 4 episodes,
brilliant.
anyway. If you
I'd
want
say so.
motivation, I don't know what else happens. But yeah,
Ooh.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of another Where's My Kit Bag? Thank you very much for listening. I've been James.
I'm Will.
And I'm Steve.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Where's My Kit Bag podcast. Please feel free to drop us a comment about anything you want us to cover in the section down below, or hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at F6 Media Film.